happening at the Vatican. Preparations are underway for what's known as the Conclave. That's the meeting of Catholic cardinals, where church elders will decide who will become the next pope. Now, this follows the death of Pope Francis last week. The funeral for the pontiff was on Saturday.
And with more insight into what happens during the conclave, we're joined now by Father Peter Santandrew, Vice Chancellor for the Buffalo Catholic Diocese and a canon lawyer as well. So take it from here in terms of what the next steps are. For many parishioners, it was a very early morning in terms of watching the funeral, East Coast time. What happens next?
So now there's the period of the 9-day novena for Pope Francis when we're asked to say certain prayers praying for the repose of his soul. There are special masses being celebrated in the Vatican at this point in time by specific individuals who have certain roles. And from then, we have the date now for the conclave, which will begin on May 7th. So next Wednesday, the cardinals will all be in Rome together. They will go to a special beginning of the conclave mass, then go into the Sistine Chapel to begin their deliberations, their decision-making process of who they will select, probably from amongst themselves, but not necessarily, to become the next pope.
The conclave is something so many people all around the world follow so closely. What do you think is behind that global intrigue? Is it simply the fact that not many people know what happens on the inside?
Well, it is mysterious. It does give you that sense of secrecy or of like a cloistered thing of the mystery of it. But also, I think it's fascinating because so many people have a stake in Christianity. And I think that the Pope is a leader for, of course, the Catholic Church, but in some ways is also known as probably the most famous Christian in the world. So we all have something to go by when it comes to who the Pope's going to be.
And the actual discussions, what are those discussions? What are they like behind closed doors? What insight can you provide into that? And how long is that particular process or those discussions? Could they go on for days or even longer?
So discussions themselves are really about the cardinals coming together to discuss the state of the church and to find out among themselves what they think are the issues or what kind of person the next pope should be. And then from those discussions of where we're at, where we want to go, what we should be focusing on, I think they then look around the room and get to know each other and say, well, which one of us could be the one to take up that position and to lead us into the future? Now, the conclave, of course, has there's one vote on the first day. On the second day, there are 4 votes, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. And then if it goes into a third day, 2 votes in the morning, 2 votes in the afternoon. If it goes up to that point and there's no clear winner, there's no 2/3 majority, the conclave breaks for a day to have some time for reflection and prayer and maybe some preaching about what the church needs and where we're going. And then they go back in for some more voting. So it could take up to 14 days total, but that would be a rare occurrence and it will probably not be like that.
And that's among all the cardinals?
All the cardinal electors. So all the cardinals in the world are the cardinals, but those under 80 can be the electors for this, of which there are 135 right now.
There was a film released last year called Conclave with Ralph Fiennes, John Lithgow. I'm sure a lot of people out there have seen it. You, Father, said you just watched the film yourself. It kind of gives an inside look at what happens, a fictional story. How accurate would you say that film is compared to what happens in real life? Well,
there are some kind of nitty-gritty details about the main character is the Cardinal Dean, and he's doing some of the things that the Cardinal Camerlengo should be doing. So there's that kind of very inside baseball distinction. But I think there is real discussion. There's real discussion that goes on, and certain majorities do build and maybe ebb and flow of who's getting the most votes and who can be behind that person. I don't think it's as politically charged or as maybe Americanized as the film portrays, but I've never been in one, so I really couldn't tell you.
What do you hope happens out of the conclave, out of this process? This is really a turning point for the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, so whoever emerges as the next pope will be our leader of the church for the next however many years. And I really just hope that it's someone who's been chosen with discernment, with prayer, and who will hopefully lead us forward in the church with the guidance of the Holy Spirit into whatever comes next.
And of course, everyone waits to see the white smoke come out of the chimney. Other than, that meaning the selection of a new pope, what do you think that represents? Why is that so significant?
Well, significant. It represents that, we're still moving forward. This church that has been around for so long continues on, and we are maybe it doesn't look like we're that strong here in the West or in this place in particular, but around the world there is hope, and that we are continually moving forward with selecting our own leader, and hopefully he will be the one to continue that work of evangelization, of preaching the gospel for all people.
All right, Father Peter, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time. We will follow all the developments out of the Vatican. I know you will be doing the same as well.
Thank you for having me.